Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name is Lefebvre, and recently I've been having a lot of fun with mixed media and painting various different subjects that I don't usually do. And recently on Instagram, I posted that I painted these adorable little chicken illustrations, and people love them. So today, we are going to be illustrating these fun chickens. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's jump in and get started. Okay friends, so recently I did a spread in my mixed media sketchbook. So this is my mixed media sketchbook that I've recently started. It's Strathmore Mixed Media. I've been playing a lot with acrylic inks, my Neocolor 2, water soluble wax pastels, my what are they called? Oh, woodless watercolor pencils, and then even just regular colored pencils a lot lately. I've just been having so much fun playing with a bunch of different mediums, and I got this mixed media journal sketchbook to play around in, and recently I did a spread on chickens and I posted it to Instagram, and a lot of people really seemed to be interested and wanted to do some chicken paintings. So we're not going to do this exactly. I did film myself doing this. I don't know if it's going to be a tutorial or not, or if it's already out. But I wanted to show you how to do some of these smaller chickens. Some of them have a bit more detail. Some of them were just like kind of done with pen and a little bit of watercolor. But they're actually quite easy and fun to do when you let loose and you make it a little bit more illustrative and abstract rather than really detailed. It's a lot of fun to do, especially when you introduce other mediums. So I've already done a chicken spread in this journal, so I'm not going to be using this book, but I will be using my Paul Rubens hot press watercolor paper because I find it's really nice and smooth. So hot press paper is smooth paper. It doesn't have that toothy texture that cold press does, which is really great when you add other mediums, especially colored pencils. If you work with colored pencils on a very textured paper, you see a lot of texture underneath. If you like that, that's great. If you don't, it's better to work on a smooth piece. So that's what I wanted to do today. I wanted to do a bunch of different little chickens and roosters, show you how I go about drawing them and adding different textures and just having fun. So if you are part of my Patreon, you will get a tracing page for outlines if drawing isn't your thing. But otherwise, I am going to show you how I kind of go about sketching different shapes, and then we can go from there. So grab yourself a pencil if you'd like. I have been using my woodless watercolor pencils for sketching, just because I like that you can use water to kind of get rid of the lines after, mix it in with your watercolor. I've even actually been using my colored pencils. You see some of the color underneath. I don't mind it. I like it for this more loose illustrative style. So use whatever you have. If you have a regular pencil, you can do that too. Okay, so with any kind of animal, I always like to just look for shapes. It's hard to kind of see it sometimes, but if you break it down into shapes, almost squint your eyes and see what you can see. So chickens have really small heads. I'm going to be doing a bunch of small ones, so we'll zoom in to the ones that I'm drawing. So they have really tiny heads. So you're going to start with this tiny little head, which you don't really see a circle, but you're going to imagine a circle. And then from the perspective that I'm doing right now, you're going to do this kind of rounded triangle almost. Kind of comes up to a point here, and then it's a rounded triangle, and that's kind of like the neck and the body here. Then you're going to do kind of like a little rump here. It's almost like a curve for its backside. You're going to come down and bring a leg, so kind of like another little triangle there, and then one kind of back here. And then it's going to have a bunch of the feathers, the tail feathers. This one is one of those, I don't know my chicken breeds or rooster breeds, so bear with me if you do know them. If you want to let us know in the comments, I don't know. Pretty sure this is a rooster, but the one with the big, this one's the colorful one that I did in my spread. So it has a big, like blue tail feather. This one is so beautiful. And then some smaller ones, which we're going to make a little bit more clear after. Now, it does not look like a chicken, right? But we're going to make it look like that. Then you're going to bring a line kind of coming up for that little, I got to learn what the parts of a chicken are. That little red top, and kind of do this like mohawk thing. It's going to come down. Going to do a little beak. See, now it's looking more like a chicken or a rooster. And then that, what is it, a wattle? Wattle? That red thing at the bottom, like that. And then we have our outline of our chicken or rooster. I'm just going to call them chickens. Please don't be mad at me. Then we can do the feet. So make them a lot smaller than you would think. Make them like thinner. I find when they look too thick, they don't look as proportioned, just from my experience. So a little line coming down this way, and then it has little feet, 1, 2, 3. And then this one's going to kind of be pointing in like he's walking. 1, 2, 3. And there we have the outline of our chicken. Okay, so with extra little details in watercolor, we're going to add more to that in a second. So I'm going to draw some other shapes, and then we will go back over all of them with watercolor. Okay, so for the next one, I want to do just a regular side kind of view of a chicken here. So again, we're going to start with our little head here, tiny little circle head, and then our triangle shape, kind of. This one's a side view. It's a little shorter on this side. Okay. Then we're going to just kind of scoop underneath like this. Scoop a little bit like this and come up. And then it's going to get a little bit thinner towards the back here. And we're just going to do some like little boop, boop, boop feathers like that for the tail. Then we're just going to make this part down here a little bit more pointed for where the feet are going to come out. We're going to have a little foot here. 1, 2, 3. And then another foot kind of walking here. 1, 2, 3. Like that. Again, looks a little weird because we don't have that beak yet. Here's our little beak. Here's our little mohawk. And our little wattle thing. And we have a chicken. Okay? So there's our second one. Our third one, I want to have one that's eating from the ground. It's like pointed down. He's eating something off the ground. So we're going to start down here with a little circle. Okay, and so now our triangle is going to come upwards like this. Like so, and then we're just going to kind of have the tail pointing up, and it's just going to be like this big fluff ball kind of coming down like that. It's a weird shape, right? Okay, so here's the neck area. The body is kind of like right here. Then we have this tail like that. Then I'm going to do the beak like that. It's a little mohawk thingy like that. It's a little whatever thingy under there. I feel like I could have spread this out a little bit better, and I'm using watercolor pencils, so I mean, I can't really erase it, can I? I actually don't know if I can erase it or not. Let's see. Ah, you can. Well then, let me try this one again. I just want to move it over a bit. Not completely, but you can kind of erase it. Okay, I'm just going to move it over a little bit, and I'm going to bring it down so the neck will be over this part. Okay, so again, circle. Our triangular neck here. Imagine a circle here for the big body part if you want to, and then have it kind of come up to a point for the tail. Do your little beak, mohawk, wattle thingy. And then the feet always have like an extra little triangle kind of bottom, like that. You can do the little feet. And there we kind of have our other chicken. I should have moved it over again, but that's fine. Could have moved it over a bit more. It's all good. All right. So there's our one kind of eaten off the ground. The next one I want to do kind of like this, but just pointing the other way so we can make it a fun, different color. So let's start with our head here, our triangle. Make it as like rough as possible. Okay. And then remember the scoop kind of comes, scoop like that, scoops like this. The feathers at the back. Our little mohawk, this one maybe has a smaller one. Beak. Wattle thingy. A little bit for the feet. Like so. All right. Again, I could have feel like I should have spread this out a little bit better. Maybe I'll write a title there. I don't know. Okay, and then our last one, I want another colorful one, just a different view of it. So I'm gonna start here for the head. Bring him up a little bit more. We're gonna have a triangle. His head's gonna be pointing this way, but his body's kind of pointing this way. So it's a little bit more like rounded on this side. Like that. And then we're just gonna kind of come down like this, like kind of like a bean. Imagine like a weird kidney bean shape. And then the feathers here are gonna flop over. Like that. We'll have the beak coming out this way. Our mohawk that way. I'm pretty sure this one's a rooster. Little hanging down thingy. And then, actually, we should have a little bit more. There we go. Those little triangle kind of things for the feet. And the feet are pointing this way. I suggest you snap a bunch of pictures of chickens, like from Google, from anything, and then just start trying to draw different shapes that you see. Okay, so here are our shapes. Now we're just going to add watercolor. We're going to go right in and have some fun with it. Okay, so for our guy up here, I want to start with, let's just start with the red for that kind of peeking out, like the, I got to find out what it's called. You know, the mohawk that I'm calling it. So I'm just going to go right in with my red, do this fun mohawk shape. Really, really loose. And it goes around the eyes too. So bring that red down right over the face, close to the beak. And then this part, just plop it right in. We can do that on all of the chickens to start. Okay, so little red thing. Their faces are all kind of red. There we go. Just leaving a little bit of room for the eye. And you can check different pictures. Some of them have the bigger, like I think the roosters have the bigger mohawk. I'm just going to call them mohawks. People who know chickens are probably going to be so angry with me, but that's okay. Do your research before you paint them. I could. Or I could just call them mohawks. Because it's fun this way. And not everything has to be serious. Right? Right. Okay. There's our red part for our chicken. See, they already look like chickens. Okay, now this guy, I'm going to grab some burnt sienna. And I'm just going to start kind of bringing it down really loosely. Like so. And you don't have to fill the whole thing in. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. So it's like this burnt sienna kind of color over the back here and through the top. There's a little bit of like yellow within here. And then it gets pretty dark towards the bottom of the chicken. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of indigo to the bottom here. And just remember, it might look a little weird at the beginning when you're kind of doing this, but you can always add your like colored pencils, whatever, like even gouache if you wanted to over top to really define things and make it fun looking. I don't know. gonna grab a little bit more burnt sienna. I also like working with gouache or colored pencils because they're opaque medium. So if you feel like you're making a mistake or something you don't like, you can always cover it up. So that's always a nice benefit to using mixed media. Okay. Then I'm gonna grab some of my phthalo blue and I'm gonna do these fun feathers at the back. So they're a little bit shorter on the side. You have that one long one. Now, if it touches the burnt sienna, that's okay. I'm trying to just like tap it next to it so it's not like really mixing with it. I'm gonna get a little bit of, I think, indigo to make it a little bit darker in some areas, like that. And then I'm gonna leave it, okay? I'm gonna leave that one, or I might, if the red part is dry, I might grab like a little bit of yellow ochre, do a bit of the beak, and then the feet, just like a light brown or yellow really quickly, okay? And we're gonna leave it like that. Now let's do the next one. This one can be just like whatever color you really want it to be. It could be yellow, it could be brown. I'm gonna do like this mix of yellow ochre and a bit of burnt sienna, and I'm just gonna really kind of just lay on that color really lightly. And maybe rely on a little bit more pencil work to make it more interesting. Or you could go back in with some darker color, go down the back, do a little bit of feathers right there, add some more at the back there, maybe under here. You could add a little bit of darkness while it's still wet. Just make it super loose. And then you can do your light brown for the feet, like so, okay? Same thing for our chicken down here. I might make this like a white chicken. So maybe I'll add a little bit of like blue, like a really light wash of indigo. We're gonna make it a white chicken. Now I did the outline, remember, with my brown watercolor pencil. So that is starting to activate underneath, which is causing it to be a little bit brown, which I'm fine with. Gonna add a little bit more blue, maybe even like a little bit of lavender, so it looks like the shadow. And we can always add white on top as well. Like that's the thing. You don't need it to be absolutely accurate and perfect. A little bit for the feet, like so. Oh, I forgot to do the beak on this one and this one. All right. Once we do the pencil crayons, it will come to life, okay? All right, then let's do this one. This one I kind of want like black and white a little bit, so I might start with our, just a little bit of water, a little bit of blue, just to make it kind of like this light gray, like that one. Activating that colored pencil. And then just do some like black spots. Like that. Just not using a ton of water to get these smaller little explosions of color. I like that one. That one's fun. A little bit more indigo. So to not have your watercolor kind of explode everywhere when you're doing stuff like this, when you're working wet on wet, you just take a tiny little bit of water on your brush. You don't need a lot. Like that. Okay. Like honestly, the tiniest bit. Like that. And the beak, I'm just using like a yellow ochre or a light brown. Like that. And then lastly, we're going to do the same kind of thing as this one again. Maybe a little bit different. I saw one that was kind of like white on top here. So maybe I'll just wet this up fully. A little bit of blue. And then it has like a little bit of yellow in there. And then it's kind of like blues and stuff. Like that. Really, you can make them whatever colors you want. There's no rules. You do phthalo blue. Maybe even mix it with a bit of green. A little too dark. But again, remember we can add some color over top after. Maybe a little bit more yellow here. Just too much, too much. A little bit of brown. There we go. The feet. The beak. And we make sure everything is dry. Okay, so let's let it all completely dry and then we can go back in with the fun details. Okay, so now if you'd like, get some colored pencils out. They don't have to be anything fancy. I'm gonna take a little bit of red, maybe just do a little bit of shading on this part, just making little bits a little bit darker, a little bit more defined, just so it's not as flat. It's a little bit darker around the eye, I find. And we're just being very, very loose with all of it, okay? Try not to get caught up on details and going very, you know, delicately. Just, I like to kind of scratch around and make it very loose. I'm gonna grab maybe some kind of like yellow ochre goldenrod. Now, the only thing that drives me nuts about working with colored pencils is the amount of time that you spend sharpening. This is the only sharpener I have that's kind of decent, that doesn't break my pencils. And I find to get the best lines, you want them nice and sharp. So I'm just, but I also don't have enough attention span to wait a long time for that. So let me grab some colors here. We have this brown. So just try and kind of match, like this is a burnt ochre. And you're just gonna do some like feathery strokes. Now you can definitely do this with your watercolor too. Like you can take a smaller brush. So here's my size 2. And then once that's dry, you can do these strokes over top like that. It's up to you if you want to make this more of a mixed media piece or not. You do not have to at all. It's just kind of fun to work with different mediums. This one here, like you do a little bit of dry brush, make it just kind of just scratching to get some texture. So many fun things you could do. You want to make it a little bit darker with your watercolor, you could. Point is just learning how to be loose with it all, okay? And just have fun and experiment. This chicken, because it's a white chicken, I'm going to add a little bit of light blue. A little wing here. Feathers. That might add a little bit of like a light brown. If I can find one. Maybe this one. And I'm just doing these little kind of jagged shapes. If you want to add white to any of it, you can grab your, white ink. You can grab white gouache. Just kind of add some highlights on top if you want. Totally up to you. It's a lot of fun to just kind of do a bunch of different things. With our one up here, I might add a little bit of this like turquoise, light aqua. Why not? And I love the texture it gives. Same thing with over here. See how you can use the opaqueness? It's just makes it so bright and vibrant. It's just so much fun to use. A little bit of yellow. Grab some blue that I need to sharpen. So this is your time to go through and just have fun with your creativity. You can do it however you want. Do not feel like you have to stick to a reference photo completely or do it a certain way like I'm doing or anything like that. Just play around and have fun. Like I'm literally scratching shapes into this. Could add a little blue in here. Why not? Just have fun with color. That's a beautiful color. The ultramarine. I love ultramarine. Like that. A little bit of darkness. I always like a little bit of textured spots, even if there's not that in any reference photo. Why not? I'm going to add a little bit of lightness to this one, I think. Maybe, let's see how, or actually I might get a light yellow. I like when they have dots like that. And we still have to do the face, so don't forget about the face. We're not completely done yet, obviously. Kind of outline that, make this tail a bit darker. And I'm using like an indigo here. This chicken is not indigo, but I'm using it. like that. Same with this one. Sometimes I like adding a bit more indigo instead of black, just because it gives it a bit more color. This one I feel like I don't need to do too much to because we have all that texture in there. We could always add that lighter blue. Where did I put that light blue? Here. Just for little pops of color. Why not? I think it looks pretty. There we go. And then for our final like detail and stuff like that, I like to use a pen for the eyes. I might just do like a little circle there. You can always just kind of go over the beak. Because I just find that's the easiest way to get the nice, darkest, most intense color. For that, you could always, you know, outline the feet if you wanted to. And you could always do extra lines here too. Like there's no rules whatsoever. Add what you'd like. So that's about it. I'm just gonna kind of finish this up. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I might add like a little bit of the ground, just like a bit of color to the ground under each chicken so it doesn't look like they're just floating there. I find that looks like fun. Just a little bit of extra, maybe some grass or something like that. But it's totally up to you. So there's our chickens. And I'm gonna just, like I said, grab a little bit of color, maybe some purple, why not? With my pencil and just add a little bit of the ground. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed it and I will see you in our next tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on all my other platforms for tons more content. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.